What's good, family? It's your boy, once again, Javian Lorenz Moore with another episode of No Cap. And just like I said, we were going to do a part 2 the last episode. Well, this is the part 2, okay? We have the same guests, Mr. Leah Ponder, Liana Guthrie, Olivia Masoke. Thank you all once again. Appreciate y'all for showing up. Appreciate you, family, for tuning back in for this part 2. Okay. Man, first of all, that was just very powerful, I want to say. Appreciate y'all authenticity. Once again, I know I just keep saying that. But, goodness. So last time, we were talking about doubling down on ourselves. That's where we left off. Believing in ourselves, believing that we can do anything that we put our minds to. And we can, and we know that. Just like you said, we have to say, I'm like that. So, if you had this mindset beforehand, do you think that you would be more excelled as far as where you are right now? Or do you think you would be in the same place?
If I had this mindset now, I probably would have been arrogant.
Arrogant? Oh, wow. Come on.
I don't know where I would have taken that mindset. But for me, always being humble, because I had a former employer to tell me that. Like, he was saying that you're good at what you do, like you come to this job and you do well. He said, but you just too humble.
Wow.
He said, and I really don't like that about you. Like, he was so honest. He said, I really don't like that about you. And then he said, you need to talk your stuff. Mm-hmm. Like, you're really like that. And I was like, dang, if I had that same mindset before, everybody would have hated me.
Because you would have been talking it.
Exactly. Uh-huh. But now I take that more into consideration. It's like, I should really take every opportunity and like put myself on the forefront, because honestly, my name is going to reach rooms before I even walk into that room.
Right. Okay.
So
just like that.
I'm like that.
Come on. Easy. What's up, Olivia?
I actually have the same problem.
Yeah.
And I could never really recognize how skilled I was. I mean, I could, like, I'd be by myself and I'd be like, wow, like I hype myself up in like quiet spaces.
Hello.
But then when I would get out somewhere, I'd be like, like people would be like, oh, is there such and such in the building? And I'd be like, no. And wait for someone to come to me. And I missed out on a lot of stuff because of that, like thinking, I always let the louder person in the room kind of overtake.
Wow.
Even if I was more qualified. And I had a few experiences where someone, like a mentor, really knew me. So they would kind of like push me forward and push my name out there a little further, which helped me get some positions. But if I would have just like been about myself and actually publicized myself a little bit more, or been more confident in putting myself out there, I mean, it would have saved me a lot of like disappointment, a lot of missing out on stuff. And I kind of let people give me the runaround here and there. Like, there was a lot. I've been trying to practice prioritizing myself and not being so accessible to people all the time.
Come on, raise
so
that
I think
bar.
if I valued myself a little more earlier, it would have saved me a lot of trouble.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Feel it.
Wow.
Yeah?
Y'all did that. I'm trying to, I'm trying to figure it out. I would say, so I'm with y'all on that. I feel I would have been much farther in my career had I started sooner. Like, had I just really bet on myself and really took time to like prioritize the things that I cared about more than like what other people cared about or what looked good, you know. But I also feel like I lacked the maturity to understand that, like, I gotta take it there, y'all. I gotta take it there. I lack the spiritual maturity to understand that like it's not unto man, it's unto God. And that a lot of like the skills, well, really all the skills that you have, like even though like you have them and you worked on them to cultivate them and to like build them, like God really gave it to you and could take away just as fast as he gave it to you. And so like I lacked that knowingness of like just because you're good doesn't mean that you could be out here like flaunting and flexing to the extent where it's just like proud and boastful like you're self-made. Because even self-made people had to depend on somebody to get to where they are now, you know?
Right.
And so I lacked the capacity to like fully understand that. And after the pandemic, like I was like, okay, like it really shifted my perspective on a lot of things. Like even after, you know, certain doors closing simply because of the pandemic, I was like, well, no amount of skill I have is gonna open that door back. So I really need to like tap in. So yeah.
Man, if I had the confidence that I had now, if I had the confidence that I have now, beforehand, I honestly think it would be misplaced. I feel like I gained the confidence from the knowledge that I gained, you know, from the experiences, from the interactions, from letting people give me the runaround, and I know they give me a runaround, but you let them give you a runaround because you're like, oh, it's okay to work yourself out. I know because I be good at doing that. I still do sometimes, yeah. And I definitely still know when y'all trying to give me the runaround. It's okay, God got y'all. But
For sure that.
definitely. But
Okay.
but seriously though, like if it wasn't for the knowledge that I gained, then the confidence that I have would not be here. Like if it wasn't for the things that I went through beforehand, then what is present currently would not be here. So I definitely feel like everything happens for a reason. I feel like I was meek at the times that I needed to be meek. And I started talking my stuff at the times I needed to talk my stuff. But if it wasn't for that humility, if it wasn't for that humbleness, then my talking would have been in vain. That's the best way to put it. Because it's easy to have a lot of confidence. It's easy to say that you can do all of this and say that you all of this, but when you're actually put to test, will that same stuff that you were talking be shown through your actions? You know, that's the real question. And I know for me, it definitely wouldn't have been shown through my actions in the past. But now, when I say what I say, I mean what I say. And I know I can deliver, and I know that I can do it because of the knowledge I gained. So that was interesting. I'm glad y'all gave me those answers because I was just definitely thinking about it because, you know, we talking about where we are now, you know, knowing that you like that, talking yourself, doubling down on yourself, having the confidence that you can step in any room and people are going to hear you without you even opening your mouth, you know. And just thinking back, you know, whereas I didn't feel this way beforehand. If I felt this way beforehand, what would be different? I think that would be for me, that would be the difference between arrogance and confidence. That definitely would be. Man, that's crazy. That's why I like these shows like this, because I really be learning stuff about myself. I learn stuff about y'all. So, cool. Great.
If you've listened to what I said, we're not saying that people have to be in agreement. But part of being emotionally and relationally mature is that people should be able to say things to you and you not give off a venom or a rejective persona that makes them feel as if they can't even share it with you. Because how can we fix anything if we're not able to share a thing?
Hey, Bobo, do trees tell each other stories?
I'm sorry. I'm afraid I don't know that.
Hey, why don't we go find out? Listen.
Do clouds take naps?
I couldn't tell you.
Dad, do stars visit their friends?
Look!
Are you finding that people are truthful online more, or maybe not so much?
There's a lot of filters that women have there's a lot of things that you really don't know that person until you actually meet them in person.
So in other words, you guys are being catfish.
Definitely.
Great, great. Okay, so let's go back to these specific experiences. How would you say that you adjusted to having a roommate in college? Somebody that you share a space with? You know, if you had your own room at home, I'm pretty sure most of y'all did, had your own room at home, having to now share that space, no matter the size of the room or apartment, you have to share your space, possibly sharing your things, sharing your time. That's really the big one, because you might be ready to sleep, but somebody else ready to study or party or have all the lights on, blasting music. Yeah. So how does that? How did you adjust to that? Because that really is a big adjustment. That is sharing your space. How did you adjust?
I still think like, why is that like that's not normal to live
With a stranger.
5 feet away from a stranger. So I'm the only child.
Yeah.
I've always had my own room. So I'm already not even used to just having that many people like around me 24/7. So my first roommate in college, safe to say, we're very different. We liked very different things. And we didn't really do anything like together. Like a lot of people are like, oh, my best friend was my college roommate. You know, we met, we went to parties together, and no, didn't happen. And our lifestyles were also very different, sorry. I was out of the room a lot of the time, but it did force me to become friends with like a lot of other people, not because I didn't really want to be in my room. But going back to that like valuing myself thing, like I wish I would have been a little more stern and like kind of making demands about stuff. Granted, I did lose my key or like leave my key in my bedroom at least 17 times.
Wow.
She had to, so I wasn't great.
That's
as
a
a
specific
roommate.
number, 17.
Okay, maybe it was like 12, but it was more than 10.
Okay.
Absolutely.
That's still, it's over 10.
So I did also learn like what my faults were. But I don't even know if I ever really adjusted to it. Like I kind of just suffered in silence is extreme. But I did just kind of deal with stuff, go rant about it, and then like come back and kind of push through.
Passive aggressive type.
Yeah, that was a lot. But it wasn't, I don't know, maybe it was that bad. It wasn't that bad. But I mean, I guess I continued sharing spaces like in apartments and stuff. My second roommate was great. My third was too. But I think I just had to learn like, I also have to say what I want and like what's important. Yeah, set your boundaries. Like just because the other person might be real specific about certain things, like you can be specific about stuff too. Like it's equally your space. And that's something that I wasn't doing in the beginning. But I live alone now, so.
Hey.
No more.
Don't gotta worry about that. Come on.
We love that.
That's good. Come on.
Well, it's different for students at Fort Valley State University because everybody has their own room.
Nice.
So
Must be
You're living in luxury.
What's
So I
that
was gonna
like?
say privilege.
So we don't have to like wake up and like look at our roommates. So our rooms are like a 4x2. You know, everybody has their own room, but you have to share a bathroom, or a 2x2, which I had last semester was I had my own room, my own bathroom, and we just share a kitchen and a living room.
I mean,
Come on, sweet style.
Yeah, so that was amazing. But for the last 2 years, I didn't have the most amazing roommates. And I can say that at sometimes I speak my mind, but at sometimes I don't. Living with other people has taught me to speak my mind. Because when I left my room, I made sure I had my key. I made sure I had my car keys, my wallet, because I didn't want to depend on nobody. No, I'm not calling you. I'm not asking you no questions. No, but living with people, it's just teaching me how to be an adult too. How to deal with conflicts and how to communicate my feelings effectively. So I would say that's the biggest takeaway of having a roommate.
Communicate them feelings effectively. Right, because it's easy to get in the yelling match. You know, you don't do this, you don't do this.
You gotta be
Versus-
mad on the side and then come back
Come
with a
on.
more refined.
Exactly. Now that we got that out the way, you know, what's really going on? Exactly, that's important.
Yeah. Y'all, I probably, woo. My freshman year was traditional. And I was like, I have younger brothers, but like it's on my dad's side, so I was raised as the only child. And like the whole idea of like sharing a space with another human being that I didn't know, like I wasn't a fan of that idea, but it was the most like cost efficient thing. So my mom was kind of like, you don't have a choice, Miss Girl, like you need to figure it out. And yeah, it was hard. And I didn't realize like how spoiled I was until I walked in my room and she was making noodles in my bowl. Y'all would have thought like she
You would have
was
thought the
using-
world was ending, because I would have spazzed.
And I was just looking like, you know, you just be so taken aback. You just gotta sit there like, is this really happening right now?
So
Like,
you
where
just
are the
stood
cameras?
there?
Yeah, like I walked in the door and I was like, you're using my bowl. And she was like, yeah, like, I mean,
Oh, she
vaguely.
said, yeah, I know.
Yeah, like
I know I'm
vaguely
using your
remembering the
bowl.
conversation. Like, it was just something along the lines of like, yeah, like, I'm just making noodles, like I'll put it back after or type thing. Like it was in the common space. I thought it was for the both of us. And I'm looking at her like, y'all, like, and I was just so furious. I was angry over a bowl. Like looking back at my freshman self, like Aaliyah, it's a bowl, but like it's the principle.
Feeling
like I see
violated.
my
You could have just
presence.
asked.
It really is the principle.
It was that because I was like, if this bowl burn, girl, you gonna be behind me some more
It
bowls.
really is the principle. It can be a piece of candy, for real. For me.
Right.
Like, did you ask me though? Like,
Because it was never yours.
it wasn't.
It was never giving share.
It
It
wasn't.
never gave that.
It
But
can be a peppermint. I'm serious.
no, literally.
No, for real. For me, I know that. It can be a peppermint for me. Like, you didn't ask me. That's problematic. That is. I might be offended. Might feel some type of way. And you might hear that. Definitely. Because it's just, I don't know. I feel like if it's yours, that's different. Go ahead, that's your peppermint, you know? That's my peppermint. And you just took it and ate it.
JV, did you have an experience with a
Right.
peppermint?
No, that's not
That's what
saying.
it
I'm just using
You like that
I'm just
peppermint.
using the tiny object as an example. I ain't had no experience with no peppermint. But I have had experiences with people using my things without asking. And just feeling like, oh, it was there, so I thought it was, for everybody. That's really the one that kills me. Because you know it's not for everybody.
Because it was never giving that.
Right.
Because we
Never gave
didn't
that.
grocery shop
Because
together.
if
We
it
just
was
shop
for
together, you know.
everybody, I would have been like, hey, y'all, this is
This
for
for everybody.
Exactly.
Thank you.
Come on.
We would have had a roommate meeting about
Okay,
this.
a whole
I
meeting.
would have called you. I would have texted you low. Yo, look, I got y'all this. This is for everybody. We can share this. But
Yeah.
nah, it's okay. It's not okay, but it's gonna be okay. It's all right. It's all right now. Anyway,
Yeah.
I'm glad we got from that. But yeah, that's just something that gets me like, it's the principle, using things that's not yours.
Yeah.
I just know that's how I am. I know it can be something small. It can be something small. I'm gonna ask you because I know it's not mine. And I know for me, if it was something the other way around, I would want you to ask me. So, but everybody ain't brought up the same. That's okay. Yeah. I mean, really. For real. For real. Some people just be like, oh, it's there, so
Right.
it's open. It's not.
Right.
Cool.
Not to you.
It's not. Right. It's really not. It's really not. It's really not. But it's okay. We can go ahead because I'm about to get upset talking about this. So,
Flashbacks.
right.
Right.
In the morning, what are some of the first things that are important to you as far as your grooming in the morning? Like,
I used to be what they call a metrosexual. I used to get manis, petties, and facials, and I'm just starting back to getting my facials and stuff done.
You know, I remember, it's funny that both of you brought up the metrosexual part of it,
Yeah.
because I just remember that used to be the thing. For a while, that was the thing. If you went and got groomed, you know, that was a label that you got. And y'all excuse me, but I used to correct folks quick. Like, I'm not even metrosexual. I'm just sexual. That's just so don't put no label on me. Don't put nothing on me.
Completely. I got to use that one.
I said I was just well groomed.
No. If you want to give me a label, give me the right one.
Yeah.
But that's just, you know. But I have learned that it's okay too. For me to groom my-
Type 2 diabetes can have a big impact on your life, but how can it be prevented? Well, the first step is knowing if you have prediabetes, a serious medical condition that puts you at high risk for type 2 diabetes. 1 in 3 American adults has prediabetes, but more than 80% don't know they have it. The good news is, prediabetes can be reversed, and for many people, healthy changes in their daily routine can make a big difference. Take the 1-minute risk test today at doihaveprediabetes.org.
I know you just talked about how you didn't hear of that many people traveling or whatnot, but was there a specific inspiration for writing a book about it and creating content about being a Black traveler?
I barely saw any Black person, blogs, YouTube videos of anybody who looks like us traveling abroad. And it's kind of one of those situations where it's like, okay, either put up or shut up, basically. I've been thinking for a while, thinking, okay, what's a little something I can do on the side or a little change on the side that hasn't been done before? And I thought about it, like, wait, no one's really wrote a Black travel guide for another country. And so I took that last summer, to go out almost every day, going out, taking pictures, doing research, all that jazz. And that's what led up to writing the book, our first book.
All right, man. And okay, so we already talking about. I like this because we talking about adults and having things that are yours. What does it feel like? You know, well, I know what it feels like for me, but for y'all, what does it feel like to actually be in a position, you know, because you're in college, because you're on your own, or you have roommates, or even you in the suite style. So basically, you in your own vicinity, to have a space and be like, even if you're sharing it with your roommate, have a space and be like, okay, this is space, I'm responsible for everything that happens right here. So even if you in your room, even if you have a roommate, y'all in the same room, you can be like, okay, from the stuff from this point on, I'm responsible for these things. How does that feel? As far as, because I know, you know, we talking about coming from home, and I know you're the only child, so you probably always had your stuff yourself. But coming from home and having to report to parents, or if you have siblings, having to ask siblings, hey, it's cool if I use this, you know, versus being in your own space, not having to report to parents, not having to ask your siblings, but having to ask a complete stranger, is it okay, can I use this? But you're still responsible for everything that you're using. How does that feel? That responsibility. I know for me it was liberating. It definitely was. It was definitely liberating for me. It was definitely liberating because I have 2 siblings, older brother, younger sister, and you know, sharing things with them, or even the leaving the house and coming in at a reasonable hour. That talk still, it's like, man, because what's reasonable to you ain't really reasonable to me, but that's okay because
Especially
I
if
know
you're
the
being in
reasons
college.
that I'm out. You feel me? You know, but that's okay. So for me, that was something liberating. That was something liberating. It was a breath of fresh air for real. Like, yes. And I wasn't really going crazy with the parties, but I'm a party guy. You know, I like to have fun. I'm a partier. Pretty outgoing fella. So for me, that was something liberating to just leave, come back when I wanted to, or having things that I'm responsible for, my own specific space, even if it was half the room. Because I had a roommate freshman year, sophomore year, pandemic happened. Junior year at home. Senior year, I'm in the suites. So I got my own room, but I got roommates, similar to what you just said. So I got my own room, but we have a common space that we share. So it's just something liberating about it, you know, being in your own space, being responsible for the things, be able to go and leave as you please. And I definitely saw the difference when we had to come back home. Just like you said.
Man.
Yeah, hitting you up, where you at, who you with.
Right. It's
Like I was
1
doing this beforehand,
Right.
and you
You
was
don't
not.
know what my lifestyle
Come
is.
on, like you did not act like this before, like.
Right.
So yeah, that's just my question. How do y'all feel about that, or how did that affect you mentally?
Oh my gosh. It affected me a lot, especially like having my own room. Of course, I had a sibling, so we share a space or whatever, but my roommates would not be responsible for the things that they did or their actions even to even understand how it would affect me. For example, I don't like you bringing random strangers in the room. But that's just me. You could give me a heads up, especially if it's a young man.
Young man.
That's the nice way of putting it.
Yeah.
Who I don't know at all, or who you don't even know at all. You just met him on the side of the street somewhere.
Wow. Yikes, roommate.
I had a specific experience with that.
Nice.
And I just walk in and y'all are just chilling. He is in my space. He is using our kitchen like it's nothing. I have a big problem with
She
that.
said side of the street.
Side of the street. Or not even being responsible of cleaning up after you. Why aren't you cleaning up after you? If I had to do it at home, oh, you sure gonna do it here in this room. And then because you have room checks. I'm not about to pay the fine. Are you gonna pay the fine? No. So you need to be responsible if you do. But that comes into play when having a roommate taught me not everyone was raised the same. I'm still
keep going back to that.
I'm still learning that now, and I'm like, it's the morals and the principles that you're taught
Yes.
that don't follow through with people to college. But then again, some people grew up in a strict household too, and when they get to college, they become
Let
buck
loose.
wild and do whatever they want to do.
Turn up for real.
So I think that was, y'all, I'm still going through that, but it's gonna be okay.
Yeah.
I think emphasis on everything you just said.
Yeah.
Yeah, heavy on that.
Because even people that are technically adults don't act like adults.
And you know what? That's something, because when we were kids, when I was a kid, I thought, oh, these adults, they got it all figured out. Then you become
And then you become the one and you realize you
Nah,
don't.
they
Not we
just-
the new adults.
Right.
Not I used to think 23-year-olds was like really
Yeah,
adults.
was
Come on.
really like that. And
Really,
But
really
no.
not though. You
And,
really not.
and people love throwing this grown word around.
Man.
Ooh,
Okay.
Like,
be the
like
ones that emphasize they grown that really don't be.
you grown, but you don't act grown. Okay.
Ooh, get into it.
But on another tip, having my own space made me feel really grounded. My parents separated when I was in like second grade, so I lived between two houses. So I had essentially two of everything, but it was like pack a bag of clothes and like be at one place for a week and then go to the next one and then go to the next one. So I never, like my stuff was always in bags. I can never just fully like stay somewhere. Like even when I go to hotels, I'm not putting my stuff in the drawers. Like it's gonna stay in the bag because I gotta
'Cause I'm
get right
definitely
back out of there. But once I went to college, even though like dorm living isn't permanent, I just felt more grounded, like building out a space that was mine, that I was coming home to every day, and like things could be settled. And then kind of moving on to the same thing when I had an apartment, like I feel like I was starting what my adult life is going to be, because there's some things I'm gonna have, you know, all the way until I'm much older. But having a space that is just mine, and I know everything that's in here, and I chose everything that's in here, and I'm responsible for everything that's in here, made me feel really grounded. So, yeah. But also liberated.
Yeah.
That too. I'm my own boss now. That was nice. That was nice.
Man, I resonate, like, I second what the both of you all said. I would also add that having my own space and also sharing a space, like, taught me so much about me. Like, I feel like it gave me the space to figure out who I was out of the public eye. You know, like when you're around your family, they have a lot to say about what you're doing and how you moving and who you hanging out with and all of that stuff, right? Like when you're living with other people or even like just like different social groups and stuff that you're in at school, like people are always looking at you. People are always looking to you, like whether you know or not. And it's like, but when you're in your home, your safe haven, like that you build, you know what's in there, like you make the rules, you set the pace, you got your principles together, you got your things in order. It's just like so peaceful. It's peaceful, it's affirming, and it also like encourages you to like figure out who you are, because it's like, if I'm gonna spend time in solitude alone, like let it be purpose-filled. Let me do things that I actually enjoy. Let me have people that I actually like to be around in my space. Like, you don't have to be around people that you don't want to be around in your space, you know? And there's just so much beauty in that, and I didn't know that until I didn't understand. This is a point, shout out to my mama, because she had told me, like, I used to always want friends over, like, Mom, can we have friends over, can I have? She's like, okay, like, I don't do company in my house. That was her thing. Oh, I don't do company in my house, I don't do it. She had to really know their parents and their child to have company in her house. Y'all, when I got my own space, let's meet that. Let's meet that.
Right.
Because, like, everybody doesn't need to be in your home, you know? And it's like, once you let people in, they're in your haven, and you really, like, to an extent, don't even have control over what they do in your space.
There's something, too, about that. Like, when you let people in your space, you can get a better feeling of their energy, too. That's something for me. I know I definitely can, like, because if you're in my space and I feel unsettled, something ain't clicking.
And I'm not about to feel unsettled.
I'm really not.
In a place that
in my place.
I'm supposed to be comfortable.
In my place.
Or even if you come in too comfortable.
Right.
Why are you so comfortable?
Why? Like you've been here before.
Like this isn't yours.
You don't know.
You don't.
Place yet.
You really don't. You ain't smelled the air yet. You ain't breathed. Come on.
No, literally.
Yeah. So, man. Definitely, man. Definitely. Goodness. I appreciate y'all, man. I appreciate y'all. Let's give y'all one more shout out. Actually, I'm gonna give y'all. I'm gonna clap for y'all.
Shout out to y'all.
Shout out to y'all. Come on, for real. Thank you to my guests, Olivia Masoke, Liana Guthrie, Aaliyah Ponder. Once again, this is No Cap. I'm your host, Javion Lorenz Moore. Family, I hope you took something away, because I definitely did. I love y'all, and I'll see y'all later.